In the shadows of history, forgotten women of the Bible shine with radiant faith. Have you ever wondered who was the woman that prompted the Apostle Paul to sing her praises? Junia, a female apostle, an untold story of courage and redemption. In an oppressive world, she rose, leading with wisdom and unshakable faith. Junia's journey will move you, igniting hope for divine justice. Join us to uncover this story, where grace triumphs over darkness. Follow the channel to catch more untold, inspiring stories. Hit subscribe and embark on this spiritual journey. Beneath the fading splendor of a Corinthian sunset, the sky blazed red, like dying embers before night's embrace. On ancient stone streets, Junia walked calmly, her steps light yet resolute. She carried no weapons, only steadfast faith and a fearless heart. To the world, Junia was an ordinary Jewish woman, but in the eyes of Christ and Paul, she was an apostle, outstanding among the apostles as praised in Romans 16:7. This affirmation kindled hope in a darkened world. Corinth, a bustling hub of wealth and vice where Rome's might mingled with idolatry. In narrow alleys, crowds jostled, merchants' shouts blended with curses, crafting a suffocating chaos. Amid the clamor of chariots and patrolling soldiers, Junia sought secluded homes where a small church of Jesus' followers met in hushed secrecy. These underground gatherings, lit by flickering candles and whispered prayers, trembled under the fear of discovery. Junia arrived not just as a devout believer, but as a herald of the gospel. By her side was Andronicus, her faithful companion and fellow apostle. Together they moved from house to house, quietly sharing bread for Christ's body and wine for his blood. Though Rome branded their acts as rebellion, hunting them relentlessly, they pressed on undeterred. Yet, within this tiny community, Junia's leadership as a woman wasn't always met with applause. Whispers of scorn arose. How can a woman teach men? A Jew no less. Suspicious glances and malicious murmurs revealed the loneliness of her thorny path. Junia knew that in that era's prejudice, faith alone couldn't yet shatter barriers of gender and heritage. Born not to privilege, but to poverty, Junia grew up in crowded streets, her family scraping by. Despite hardship, she displayed uncommon wisdom and resilience. When Jesus' message reached her, she abandoned safety to follow the call of salvation. From Antioch to Corinth, her journey was fraught with trials. Imprisoned by Roman guards, starved, and beaten. Yet each ordeal filled her with hope, anchored by God's promise, "I will never leave you." Junia's story truly ignited when Corinth's small church faced crisis. Callistus, trusted to guard their secrets, succumbed to greed and power, plotting to betray the believers' names to Roman authorities for leniency. The news struck like a tempest. Exposure meant arrest, torture, even death. By candlelight, Junia sat in silence, her heart pounding. Two paths lay before her: stay quiet for fleeting peace, or defend the truth. Risking all, under the candle's glow, Junia knelt in prayer. Amid mental turmoil, she saw a vision. A small flame enduring a raging storm, unextinguished by fierce winds. This wasn't just a dream. It was a divine sign. Steadfast faith triumphs over temptation. A surge of unseen strength banished her fear. At dawn, Junia strode to the square, eyes ablaze with resolve. Her steady steps led to the church's meeting house. The believers, bewildered, looked to her. What could save them? Junia shared her vision, infusing faith into every heart. She offered no miracles, only truth. We must unite, for only solidarity can protect us. Only divine justice lets light conquer darkness. Beyond words, Junia met each member, listening to fears and bolstering them with her trials' lessons. She devised a plan: mislead the Romans, secure the true hideout, and confront Callistus to reclaim the list. Every detail was meticulous. One misstep could cost everything. Outside, Roman troops stirred, hooves thundering through main streets. In the afternoon's pale light, Junia and Andronicus rushed believers to a new refuge. Elderly women, crying children, all felt the tension. Yet Junia's gaze radiated faith, a lighthouse in the storm. At the confrontation, Junia entered the cold room where Callistus clutched the faded list. His first words mocked, "You think a woman can stop me?" His voice dripped contempt. But Junia was ready. "Not I, but my God," she replied softly, her words carrying a force that silenced him. The secret community, through Junia's strategy, presented proof of Callistus's bribes. Truth tore through the darkness, exposing his betrayal. In the case, Junia seized the list, shredding it before him. Ink splattered like the blood of unbreakable brotherhood. Misled, the Romans searched elsewhere, leaving the community hope to survive. As quiet night fell, the small church gathered around Junia. Warm candlelight cast shadows on weary, faith-filled faces. Junia comforted each one, sharing prayers for the future. "We prevailed not by weapons, but by faith. Keep that flame burning." Her heart's fire blazed, guiding countless souls onward. Junia's tale was just the beginning. She continued leading, teaching, and inspiring churches across Europe. Under Rome's sky, amid prejudice and oppression, she proved women could not only follow, but lead in spreading the gospel. Faith's light, passed from heart to heart, never fades. The crisis struck like an unheralded tempest when whispers of a betrayed list of Corinth's believers spread through the city's dark alleys. Junia caught the panic in her companion's eyes. Callistus, the church's trusted leader, held the list. Once a pillar of faith, he had bartered his loyalty for Roman promises of power and wealth. His betrayal pierced Junia's heart like a dagger. If the list reached imperial hands, not just adults, but women, children, and the elderly would face chains, whips, or brutal death. As night fell, fear murmured through the discreet homes where the church gathered. Flickering candles on small altars no longer calmed hearts. Confirming the heartbreaking news, Junia shed no tears. She turned to the stone courtyard where night winds chilled her hair. Kneeling, she poured her soul into silent prayer. "Lord, you are my shield. You know the fears hidden in my heart." Her whispers rose like a song, seeking answers from the silent heavens. In the still night, Junia slipped into a vivid dream. A small flame burned steadily in endless darkness. Fierce winds lashed at it, yet the flame held firm, blazing brighter, its warm light stretching beyond sight. Junia awoke, her heart pounding. This was no mere vision. It was a divine sign for the mission ahead. Be bold, for faith will lead. By morning, Roman soldiers patrolled every alley, hooves clattering, cohorts marching. In dawn's faint light, Corinth's citizens watched curiously but stayed silent. Inside the church's hidden house, Junia stood before the believers, her eyes unwavering, her heart a mix of dread and resolve. Delay a moment longer, and all would fall to the enemy. Before acting, Junia paused to listen. She met each gaze, trembling women clutching children, young men gripping hands tightly. Fear etched their faces. Junia sighed softly, offering an encouraging smile. "We are not alone," she said, her voice gentle but firm. "In the thickest darkness, light still shines. This trial is our chance to prove our faith and unity." Moments later, the old wooden door creaked open, and Callistus entered, his face smug. He clutched the list, cruel proof of his betrayal. His gaze swept the believers, locking onto Junia. "You," he snarled, "dare exploit faith to lead a church? A woman leading men?" His words echoed like the crack of rotting timber, tightening Junia's chest. In that silent pause, Junia felt pain sink deep, not just from betrayal, but from entrenched prejudice against women. She'd endured imprisonment for her faith, faced scorn as Junia, the woman among apostles. Yet this public mockery shook her. But by God's grace, she saw the pain as fuel to rise, not fall. Amid the tension, Junia stepped forward, her step steady on the cold tiles. "Callistus," she said calmly, "you err in thinking power lies with betrayers. True strength comes from loyalty and love for humanity." Her words rang like a bell in the stifled room, stirring the community. Wavering eyes now sparked with renewed faith. Turning to Junia, he retorted harshly, "I have proof. I have Rome's might." But Junia answered not with anger, but with divine wisdom and justice. "The proof in your hand," she said, "is lifeless paper. God's living word thrives in our hearts. Betray us and no earthly justice fades, but God's endures." Her eyes blazed with unyielding faith, a torch in the storm. The community gasped, then chanted as one, "We stand with Junia." Their voices surged like a great wave, drowning Callistus' threats. He recoiled, his trembling hand dropping the list. As Romans outside heard the commotion and stormed in, Junia's plan unfolded. Believers were safe in a new hideout, and the soldiers received a false list pointing to an empty site. They left, chasing shadows, while the true church stood secure. Amid the fading clamor of retreating troops, Junia embraced Andronicus, tears streaming not from fear, but from joy and gratitude. She raised a candle, its light warming tired, radiant faces. "We've triumphed," she whispered, "not by weapons, but by faith and love." The first crisis passed, but its mark lingered. Junia and Corinth's church knew more trials awaited, yet they grasped the power of unity and divine grace. In every heart, a flame of hope ignited, a flame that no storm could extinguish. This was the dawn of a legendary tale, a female apostle rising in darkness, bringing the light of justice to lost souls. Junia stood amid flickering candles in the cramped house packed with believers, the wavering light etching anxiety onto their faces. Outside, the clatter of Roman hooves and iron echoed on time-worn stone streets. Yet in that warm space, Junia became a guiding torch. She closed her eyes, sinking into the vision of an unquenchable flame from the previous night, then spoke with resounding clarity, "We do not fear, for God is with us." Her words sparked hope in every heart, easing the heavy air of dread and ushering in surging faith. Fear never swayed Junia's actions. She descended the wooden steps, closed the small door, and drew the believers closer. No loud rallying cries or slogans, just whispered encouragement and a burning desire for truth and love. Junia invited all to sit in a circle, taking her place at the center, offering each a warm gaze and a steadfast smile. With innate grace, she didn't rush to strategize, but listened to their silent fears. An elder trembling at the thought of capture, young men yearning for their family's safety. Each shared worry, Junia noted, a reminder that her plan must ensure absolute protection. In private talks, Junia recounted her imprisonments for faith. Cramped, moldy cells, the sting of merciless lashes. Yet in those seemingly hopeless moments, grace warmed her like a breeze against the cold. God shielded me, she said, her voice trembling but resolute. I didn't lose but learned the power of love and sacrifice. Her story wasn't just personal memory, it was living proof of faith's might, showing divine justice could vanquish betrayal. Junia's bold plan wasn't mere political cunning. She understood Rome's psyche. They feared the unknown, the vague. So she proposed misdirecting the soldiers with false news of a hideout, a deserted monastery on the city's edge, hard to reach and unsuspected. It was a ruse to draw the empire's forces away from the true sanctuary. Meanwhile, Junia would confront Callistus at the church's heart, forcing him to surrender the believers' list and face his treachery. Tension thickened in the small house as Junia shut the final door behind her. Outside, dusk fell, the first buildings aglow with Rome's crystal lamps. Junia took a deep breath, letting silence embrace her soul. Her steps tiptoed down the narrow hall, hand-woven rugs muffling sound. Knowing one loud misstep could ruin everything, she stayed utterly composed, a silent warrior fueled by unyielding faith. Pausing before the iron-gated wooden room where Callistus waited, Junia stood still. A lantern's glow above dusted her worn cloak with timeless light. She exhaled softly, closed the door behind her, and stepped inside. Callistus sat behind a wooden table clutching the faded list. He glared with disdain. "You dare defy Rome's power? A woman teaching us," he growled. Junia didn't answer at once, only stepped closer, her eyes tracing the list's inked names. She knew true strength lay not in those words, but in the faith and solidarity of the people. Junia spoke, her voice gentle yet firm. "Callistus, this list holds value only to the world. We have something greater, the love and loyalty of every heart here." Her words weren't shouted but resonated like a solemn vow. Callistus faltered, realizing the believer stood with Junia, fearless. In that moment, she yanked the paper from his grasp, tearing it to shreds. The crisp rip echoed like a bell heralding justice done. As Callistus reeled, hooves thundered outside. Roman soldiers stormed in, seeking old records to crush the faithful. But reaching the room, they found only a fake map, pointing to the barren monastery. They rushed off, chasing illusions, while the true church had moved to safety per Junia's plan. As all returned to the secret house, Junia relit each candle, warm light flooding the room. Some wiped tears, others smiled with gratitude. Junia embraced each one, whispering prayers for peace and new beginnings. "We've shown faith cannot fall," she said warmly. "Keep that unquenchable flame burning, no matter what lies ahead." Surveying the room, Junia knew the church's next step wasn't just temporary safety, but strengthening faith and community bonds. She promptly organized Bible studies, urging each person to share their experiences, reinforcing they weren't alone. Junia also set up an internal news system. Messengers carried updates between locations, keeping information fluid and secure. In ancient Corinth's heart, Junia became a symbol of courage and wisdom. She not only saved the church from peril, but affirmed a timeless truth. Women can lead, building communities through faith and love. Her story spread like a sacred breeze through alleys, reaching believers in Antioch, Ephesus, and Rome, where female apostle became a badge of pride. Junia's wise actions opened a new chapter for Corinth's church. They didn't just survive the storm, they grew stronger, more united. In every heart, an unquenchable flame burned, reminding all that divine justice outshines earthly power. Junia, once overlooked, became a guiding torch, inspiring generations to walk in faith, stepping into light amid darkness. The fateful night cast its shadow over Corinth as lamplight stretched across ancient pillars and weathered stone steps. In a frigid room, a thin curtain veiled the window, letting pale moonlight slip through, tracing intricate patterns on the tiled floor. Amid the stillness, Callistus sat behind a wooden table, clutching the list, a paper dictating the fate of dozens. Moonlight bathed his face, highlighting a sneer as he flipped through the pages, savoring his prize. Junia entered, her steps light but resolute, her heart racing yet fearless. Her black cloak blended with the shadows, revealing only eyes ablaze with faith. Callistus looked up, his gaze mocking. "You think a woman can stop me?" His hoarse voice dripped with scorn. The room held its breath, awaiting her reply. Junia responded not with fury but with a calm beyond expectation. She stepped closer, silver light from the window's gap glinting on her cloak, casting a faint halo. "Not I," she said softly but firmly, "but God will judge." Her voice rang like a hymn, startling Callistus. Her words didn't just challenge earthly power, they invoked eternal justice surpassing any force. Callistus smirked, raising the list high, his voice sharp. "I have Rome's might, soldiers at my command. You're powerless." But Junia, her eyes burning with faith, gazed past the paper. She knew truth's spark was ready to ignite. Just then the wooden door creaked, drawing both their eyes to the entrance. Arista, a believer who once doubted Junia, stepped in with a young man, their faces taut but resolute. Arista held up a small leather pouch of gold coins, proof Callistus traded the list for bribes. His eyes widened at the sight, his denial stammering. "That's not mine." Arista replied coldly, "It is yours. Roman coins, the governor's seal, and dated transactions." Truth exploded like lightning, tearing through the silent night. In that stunned moment, Junia lunged forward, snatching the list from Callistus and tearing it apart. The sharp rip echoed like a bell proclaiming divine justice. Shreds fluttered in the air like spilled blood on the tiles, a reminder of betrayal's cruelty, but also a sign of renewal. Roman soldiers outside, alerted by the noise, burst in with spears raised, but seeing the chaos, they grabbed only scattered scraps and muttered as they left. As the troops retreated, Junia turned to the community. Believers stood by the door, their steps shaky but eyes alight with hope. She clasped Arista's hand, offering a warm smile, then met each gaze. "We're saved not by swords, but by faith and love." Her voice, gentle yet fierce, spread like a prayer through the narrow space. Callistus sat dazed, his gray head bowed. The community began to judge. Cries of traitor and betrayer rang out. Junia raised a hand, silencing the clamor. Candlelight flickered, illuminating her face as she spoke softly. Divine justice seeks not vengeance but redemption. We forgive Callistus, letting God's mercy shine. Her smile, like dawn after a long night, softened even the hardest hearts. Reconciliation unfolded in that room as Callistus, to the community's astonishment, knelt in apology. Junia extended her hands, lifting him, then embraced the group in shared compassion. Dear Lord, this was true justice, not distortion or destruction, but restoration, offering life from betrayal's ashes. The soldiers' clamor faded, the night calm as soft black silk. Junia led the group through secret alleys to the safe haven she and Andronicus had prepared. Each step testified to faith and wisdom's power. At a secluded cave outside Corinth, Junia lit a large bundle of candles. Flames roared, warming the chilly night. Tired yet radiant faces glowed, eye brimming with gratitude. Junia moved among them, letting each touch the fire. We are light in the darkness, she whispered. Carry this flame to every home, every street, so no Roman oppression can extinguish our faith. She urged the believers to reorganize, secure information, form safety patrols, and above all, foster forgiveness. She encouraged Arista and the youth to lead small groups, sharing this night's story as a faith lesson. She reminded all, redemption isn't just for betrayers, but for every believer who doubts in weakness. In the candle's flickering glow, Junia gave thanks. God used that unquenchable flame to guide us through darkness. Today we saw divine justice shine, not through violence, but through love and truth. Soft applause rose, a deep agreement, a quiet hymn of praise began, blending faith's echo with the Almighty's presence. Before leaving the crowd, Junia glanced at the starry sky, a radiant tapestry reminding her this was but a moment in God's vast plan. Yet it was enough to transform a community, proving a humble woman could lead with faith and wisdom. She smiled, closing one dramatic chapter and opening another, where Junia's light would spread worldwide. The climax ended, but lessons of divine justice and forgiveness etched the believers' hearts. That unquenchable flame burned on, guiding those who dare rise amid trials, speaking truth in darkness. To today's American audience, Junia isn't just a historical figure. She's an enduring beacon of courage, wisdom, and boundless love. As dawn broke over Corinth's ancient temple columns, the first sunlight slipped through leaves, warming cold stones that had witnessed countless triumphs and trials. The small church, once trembling before oppression's storm, now gathered in a wide stone courtyard, eyes radiant and hearts brimming with hope. Junia stood at the circle's center, sunlight weaving through her hair, forming a faint halo, a testament that divine justice had fulfilled its task. Time passed and word spread. Junia, the once imprisoned Jewish woman, had become a living emblem of courage and faith. The story of saving Corinth's church echoed through Roman streets, from hidden rooms to bustling markets. Fearful believers grew bold. Skeptics found firm trust in love and truth's power. Under the sun, Junia walked slowly among the crowd, her warm smile and compassionate eyes embodying her proclamation. Those who persevere will never lose their way. Yet the path ahead was never smooth. Though Callistus's plot was thwarted, Junia and Corinth's church faced harsh prejudice. Many Roman religious leaders sought to dismiss women's roles in spreading the gospel. Malicious rumors spread that Junia was merely embellished. But these challenges only highlighted her inner strength. She didn't shrink back, pressing forward, confident in God's entrusted mission. Junia held Bible studies by flickering candlelight, teaching God's boundless love and justice. Dozens, elders, youth, women, listened intently, finding solace and drive to fight for faith. She hosted discussions where personal stories were shared, strengthening community bonds. Amid a small harp's notes, sweet hymns blended with prayers, forming a symphony of hope and steadfastness. As time flowed, Junia didn't stay in Corinth. With Andronicus, she carried the mission to Ephesus, Rome, and small cities along the Mediterranean. Despite varied cultures and biases, Junia connected through love and wisdom. She offered gentle counsel, shared burdens, and left quiet footprints of faith. Letters from Rome to Corinth hailed her as the lamp that never dims, and inspiration for generations. Junia's story, though forgotten for centuries, now blazes like an unquenchable flame. In today's light, a female apostle standing before men, Roman soldiers, and worldly powers symbolizes justice, equality, and compassion. Junia reshaped how the world views women in faith, not followers, but leaders, igniting hope and redemption. Today, in a turbulent modern world, Junia's message resonates as a call to action. Where injustice lingers and prejudice binds, you and I can be Junias in our communities. A spark of courage, a sincere word of support, can ignite change. In urban streets or impoverished alleys, Junias await recognition. Women trusting divine justice will always prevail. Junia's journey holds deep modern relevance. In a world where gender equality, human rights, and religious freedom face threats, we need bold voices. Dare to challenge the old, speak for the vulnerable, and trust that faith, compassion, and wisdom can achieve the extraordinary. Junia stood in darkness. We too can shine in our unique ways, even through small, meaningful acts. Junia's story ends without closure, for her legacy lives in every heart that dares to dream and act. She proved that with loyalty and love, anyone can be a guiding light, no matter the odds. Most miraculously, when we dedicate our lives to righteous ideals, grace and redemption follow, lifting us through trials. Dear American audience, if Junia's tale, the forgotten female apostle, stirs you, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you stood for truth, or are you seeking faith strength? Don't forget to subscribe and like this video to spread the message of courage, equality, and divine justice. Share it with friends and family across the U.S., letting Junia's unyielding spirit inspire more hearts. May grace and peace reign in your life. Join us next time as we uncover more untold stories of remarkable biblical women who quietly changed the world with faith and love. Their lessons, spanning millennia, still bloom with hope, guiding us toward the light.